I would kick myself if I had the opportunity to talk to you and didn't ask you about this one real life story. We call the story Fake Clayton. There was a scandal and
Yeah.
it just was like the girl that claims that she slept with you. You spoke to her in real life because you got her to like she apologized and everything. Can you tell us like what happened behind the scenes?
Yeah, so it's just funny. I've only shared this privately because at first I was like, I don't know how people will take this, but it's not as stigmatized as it used to be. So actually, I that night I was sitting by myself. I had just taken an edible, so I was like, I had an edible. I ate some, I had some pizza. Of course, everyone knows I love pizza. So I
Mhm.
ordered some pizza. I had the TV turned on, and then all of a sudden I'm like just scrolling on social media, and I see like this video pop up, and it's this girl, and she's like, I was just with this former bachelor, and we hooked up, and apparently he's with somebody. And I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, who? And I'm like, so I'm like, I'm totally captivated. And and all of a sudden they're like, where is she from? And people are like, she's in New York. And I was like, oh my gosh, Matt James is in New York. I was like, no, like Matt, he's such a good dude. There's no way like that he did this. And so I'm like in it. I'm like with everybody else. I'm just like refreshing. I was like, who is it? I was like, I think Peter Weber was in New York at some point, 1.2. And I was like, is it Peter? Like, and so I'm there with everybody else. I'm scrolling and I'm just like, my mind is racing. I'm like, who is it? And I'm just refreshing. And then all of a sudden they're like, give us the tea, sis. Who is it? And then she said, it's Clayton. And I remember I was like, I was at that point, the edible was pretty powerful. So I was like wiping my eyes. I was like, no, like, am I actually seeing this? Is this my real name? Or is like, or is the weed kicking in too much? And I'm like thinking that this is my name. So I thought I was like projecting my name onto the screen. And so I was like, no, this is not true. And then all of a sudden I started getting added. It was just like ding, 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 Clayton, 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 Clayton. Then I started getting text messages and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Like I'm not imagining this. This is legitimately happening right now. So I panicked, of course, because I'm like sitting here and I was like, how? And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, this happened last night. I was like, I was at the gym last night. Like I'm in Scottsdale. Like I'm not in New York. And so I'm trying to make sense of this. Well, then it hits me that I'm like, this girl's just lying. She's just flat out lying. Because I at first I thought like she was confused, and then I'm like, no, she legitimately is just lying. Like she's just choosing me. I don't know. I was like, she probably looked at my Instagram, so I didn't post anything the night before. Come to find out, this girl had done this before to an NFL athlete. Apparently, she had like done this whole spiel before, and
Oh.
accused an NFL athlete of cheating. He never did, but it gained her a bunch of followers, and sure enough, she gained like 5,000 followers from this whole experience. And I was
Mm.
trying to get her account banned because I was like, the only way you're going to learn is if you get your account banned because you clearly only care about clout and followers. So like, let's teach you a good lesson of getting your account banned. It didn't happen, unfortunately. I was like, that's all I want from it. But it was very, yeah, I was like panicking. And so I thank the Lord. And within my thoughts, as I'm digging deep in my head of like, how do I show people that I was not in New York? And then I was like, oh my gosh, location services. Like I remembered I saw some video way back when I was like, location services, go on your phone and it'll show you where you were at. And so I went on my phone. Sure enough, like 8:30 p.m., I'd hit the gym in Scottsdale. So I was like, oh my gosh, like thankfully I had the receipts because otherwise people would have just piled on and it would have been like one more thing. People like, see, we knew this guy sucked. And here's further proof that he sucks. And so I posted that out there. She tried to double down and say,
Yeah.
she was like, no, he was here at 1:30. And then at that point, she started making herself not look too intelligent because I was like, do the math. Okay. It takes 4 hours, like a 4 hour flight or longer, 4.5 hours to get there, plus the time zone changes of like 2 hours at that point. So I was like, that's a 6 hour time difference. So you said you met me at 1 a.m. If I would have got on a private jet right at 8:30, right second I stepped out of the gym and went there, I wouldn't have gotten there until 2:30 at the earliest. So I was just like, your story is ridiculous. This is over. Everyone saw that, and that was the end of it. But yeah, that was good thing I have now my location services are absolutely on. And I think I clicked it to where like they're instead of just like doing once a day, I have it where it's like it's tracking me nonstop.
Yeah.
But again,
The
like
fact that
it's
it came up on your For You page is like not something I expected. I assumed, like, because you're like high scrolling, not thinking anything. And the fact that you were trying to follow the saga, like everyone else trying to figure out who it was, we were trying to figure out who it was.
yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, it's me.